Hey everybody, it's Paul Stevens here from iGo Sales and Marketing, and I have another video for you today. Today I want to introduce a plugin I just created. It's for syncing the events calendar and Mautic. Okay, so it's using the Mautic API to send the event calendar registration to Mautic, and then once it's in Mautic, you can tag the person, or it actually creates the tag, and then you can use that tag to create events in Mautic, or campaign events like sending out thanks for registering, as a reminder, here's the date, blah blah blah, and you can create a whole campaign around the events. So the events calendar is great in WordPress for organizing the event, but not so great at sending all the follow-up information and reminders and things like that you might want to send in an event campaign, okay? Or maybe the course materials or anything like that. So this plugin makes it super easy to do that. You can contact me through my website if you're interested, but I'm going to give you a quick demo today of just kind of how it works. So here it is. So basically you enter in your Mautic URL, your client ID, and your client secret, which you create in Mautic under the API section, okay? And then once that's entered, I've got a couple features here about enabled debug logging. So it will actually output whatever it sends to Mautic to the PHP log, so that you can just check to make sure it's actually sending and it's sending the right information and all that kind of stuff. But generally for production, you want to keep that off. Once your credentials are entered and you've saved the changes, you can just test whether it connects to Mautic or not, okay? And if all goes well, you should see up at the top, Mautic connection successful. Okay, so that means it's going to work. Then I have a few testing tools here that you can, again, just use to verify that things are working properly. So, for example, everything runs off the email. The email address is the unique trigger. So I'm just going to put in my name here. Just to do a contact search. The rest of it is kind of irrelevant because it doesn't actually look for that. It just looks for the email address. So I'm going to do a contact search, and it found me in Mautic, contact ID 85288. So the API is working. It's pulling information from Mautic. You can add a contact, or you can add a tag to a contact from here. Again, this is just for testing to make sure that all these three critical functions are working properly for your Mautic installation. And then basically what happens is when you register for an event, so I'm going to just pull up for my Mautic here, and I'm going to just edit my contact here and remove the tags that I already put on. Okay, so all the tags are gone. So I'm going to RSVP for this event back on the WordPress front end. Okay, and because I'm logged in, it's going to use my email address that I'm logged in as. That's just how the events calendar works. I can put any email address in here. So the way the plugin works is it looks for a person first. So if it finds a person with that email address, it just adds the tag to that person. Okay, if there is no person, it creates a new contact with that tag. Okay, so that's an important distinction, and that's kind of, it works for the flow for most people. If they have an event registration, if it's like an existing customer who has signed up for an event in the past, it's not going to create a new contact for them. Again, it's just going to add the tag, and for a brand new customer, it will create a new tag and a new customer. Okay, so in this case, I'm already in the database, as you saw, so on the Mautic side of things. So I'm just going to finish that up. Now just to note, the form submission does take a second or two longer than it normally would, just because, again, it has to go through and submit the API and receive back the response. But it's not that bad. So here's my contact here. So now if I refresh it, you'll see here I got registered in event ID 13. So I've put two tags here. One that is kind of more human readable with the workshop name, and then the other one with the event ID. And the reason why I did that is because, like, from time to time, maybe you have a typo or you change the name of the event or something like that, or change the date of the event, and I didn't want that to be like the trigger for the campaign in Mautic, because it could change, right? So the event ID never changes. So that's what you should use as your trigger. So that's the basic functionality of the plugin, to add these two tags to a contact or create a new contact and add the tags if they don't exist. Okay, so now what I can do on the Mautic side of things is, well, first of all, I would create a segment. Okay, and I'm going to create a segment. I've already done it just for some time saving here. An RSVP attendee segment. Okay, and you can see I'm in the segment. Okay, and the segment is just basically anyone who has that tag. Okay, so you can see that it's tags including event ID 22. Okay, and how do you know what the event ID is? Well, back in WordPress, you would go to your event, and you can just hover over it, and you'll see down in the bottom left hand corner it says post equals 22, so that is event ID 22. Or if you just open the event, again, you'll see in the URL up here, post ID is 22. Okay, so that is the ID for this particular segment. So that's how we got event underscore ID 22. Okay, so now that I'm in the segment, I created a campaign. I also created an email follow-up. That's another component you're going to need. But let's open the campaign here. Okay, so you can see I'm in the campaign. Okay, and I just have one action here. So if I open it up, basically the basic structure is that the contact source is my RSVP segment. Okay, and anyone in that segment is immediately going to get the welcome email. Okay, and that's just set up as send it immediately. Okay, and it's just, I created a thanks for signing up test email. Okay, now this is important for this stuff here. Okay, this normally for most of your stuff in Mautic, you're sending out marketing emails. This is a transactional email regarding the event. So the difference between these two is a transactional, you can get the same email multiple times. So maybe you use this welcome email for all your events. Okay, and if that's the case, then you want to make sure it's transactional. If it's a marketing email, Mautic has a safeguard built in where you can only get that email once. Okay, so that's the difference in this case. So you're going to want to think that through with your campaign in how to do it, but that's the basic setup. Okay, and you can do as many of these as you want. You can, the welcome email, and then you can do another one 3 days later that says we're, revving up, things are getting exciting, here's your course materials. Another one a few days later that says, don't forget to mark your calendars, whatever you can think of, right? But this gives you a super powerful marketing automation system if you're using Mautic, along with WordPress and the events calendar to take and sign up. Okay, it works not only with RSVPs, but it also works with ticket commerce if you're selling the tickets. They're a little bit different in the back end how I had to deal with them, but it does work for both. So regardless of whether you're selling the ticket or using RSVP, the plugin will work and push the tag to the contact or create the contact in Mautic to drive your campaigns. So that's about it. If you use Mautic a lot, I'm sure you'll find this super exciting. And if you use the events calendar, this gives you a great way to manage your email campaigns all synced up with your website and the event calendar. Again, I do this for a living. If you need help or consultation in regard to Suite CRM, Mautic, WordPress, the events calendar, I can do custom development. And if you're interested in this plugin specifically, contact me and we'll work on getting it set up for you.